What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. BobbyFi with my man Eric Sheets-Haber. We're going to be doing an NBA breakdown for tonight's slate. Hasn't been the greatest week, hasn't been the worst week, but it hasn't we haven't had many good slates. We had a good one Wednesday, and then DraftKings, of course, went down for me. But we got a great slate tonight. We don't have a lot of news, obviously, yet, but we do have some pretty intriguing value and potentially a lot of different ways we could go. So, Sheets, what is sort of your outlook on this slate?
First of all, I would like to shout something out. So it's a couple of days removed from when Kobe died last year. So I mean, he was like more your generation kind of than mine. So today I would like to shout out R.I.P. Hank Aaron, who was definitely like my wheelhouse when I was a kid. Yeah. Totally, I remember the Ruth tying home run against Jack Billingham, the Ruth breaking home run against your Al Downing, both number 44, by the way, Al Downing and him. And that was when I was collecting baseball cards. So I got all the Hank Aaron's back then. So Hank Aaron was definitely my childhood. So RIP him. And, read up about him. He faced some issues, some racism issues, as most black people did back then. But always a gentleman, always a good dude. And, he wasn't much of a personality after retirement. He didn't travel the world and as a commentator right there. He just kind of just laid low, was quiet, and so R.I.P. him.
Yeah, definitely R.I.P. to Hank Aaron, and probably for my vote, he went from being probably overrated in my childhood.
Yep.
When people talked about him as the greatest ever, to being incredibly underrated as time has gone on. And he's definitely one of the greatest hitters of all time. And
what's great is I hate to date myself to say how sports and everything used to be different, but he never. I mean, guys, he never cared. You know what I mean? Whether he was viewed as this, that, and the other thing. He just went out and did his business.
Absolutely.
All right. So speaking of going out and doing their business, one little bit of news. Again, I didn't factor in as much, but we're gonna have to. I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure, but a pretty damn good chance that Durant sits, right?
I don't know for sure yet on that one. I don't
know for sure either.
I feel like this team is trying to get together on everything. I just don't know, what's going to end up. I honestly don't have a good feel for it. I think he's going to play is my first instinct, but.
Okay. So I'll start with this first game, because this first game, I mean, it's a little annoying because, you know how I feel about playing against Chicago. I'd love to target the Charlotte guys in general, but for the most part, the highest scorers are pretty fairly priced. The one guy who really stands out, and this is interesting, is there. Today is a day where there's going to be one kind of really, really cheap center who's going to be really chalky. And it's so funny, when I first looked at this slate, I'd forgotten about Christian Wood being out when I first looked late last night. And I looked and I saw that Cody Zeller is back with no minutes restriction. I'm like, all right, he's a lock, 70% on 3,800, move on, right? So, with DeMarcus Cousins opening up, that obviously changes things a little bit, but it doesn't change the fact that Cody Zeller with no minutes restriction at 3,500 is a tremendous play. So that's my first thing. The other thing is that if I'm going to play other guys from Charlotte, I was looking through, just everybody looks really, really, healthily priced. The best I could come up with would be Terry Rozier maybe. But even that, so it's a game that I really want to target, but I can't quite do it as much as I want to. Interesting on the other side, though, with what's his name out? I was at Wendell Carter Jr. or something. Is there's value that's going to open up, and it's, for me, it's going to come between either Thad Young, but more Thad Young on FanDuel actually. Thad Young on FanDuel is basically my favorite point guard, power forward. Or maybe if Daniel Gafford gets a start, we got to take a look at him. So I feel as though this is a game I should like more than I do. So maybe I will, like these guys. But who do you take of these kind of, fairly priced Charlotte guys?
Yeah, I even think that the Zeller play, I think Gafford might even be a better play on the other side. There's a chance he starts this game.
Yeah.
We don't really know, so if we get Gafford in the starting lineup, just for the minutes side of it, feels pretty good. Now, this is not a matchup where you would need to use him. If they were playing a team like an Indiana or something like that, I would think that that's what you would see. But they don't really need a defensive center. And on the same token, even if he doesn't have a minutes restriction, it's not like Zeller plays more than 20 minutes usually anyway. He can go have upside on that. But I mean, they've played pretty well with Biombo. I don't know that they're going to run him just unlimited minutes, just because I don't think that they like he's not exactly their like guy or anything anymore. But I would take some shots there. I'm open to it. I don't really have a ton of injury. I think that LaMelo is more playable on FanDuel. I do think that Gordon Hayward is a good play. It's a good matchup, obviously, for all these guys. My favorite play would be Devontae Graham, though, if I was picking from the Charlotte
Yeah,
side.
this is my problem. Like, there's a lot of guys in Charlotte I think are just kind of like okay plays.
Yeah, well, Devontae Graham, I just feel like he gets to 40 in this matchup plenty of the time. He's playing like a million minutes now, no matter what. He's the guy who's not losing any minutes. Doesn't seem at all. And I don't see Zeller being back as anything that's going to affect any of these guys, because he'll just split the center minutes with Biombo. It affects PJ Washington a little bit because he doesn't get the center minutes as well as often. So honestly, from this game, Gafford, I want to see where he ends up, but I do think that Gafford is a guy who I'm definitely looking at. I also think that you're going to have Satoransky back, and even in limited minutes does cut into little Chicago guys. So if there was anyone I would play, it would be Levine or White as usual. I even think Markkanen's a good play. People probably will go to a little bit, but I don't like love any of it. So I just think it's a big slate, and there's I mean, we'll get into it in the next game, but there's a lot of plays that I absolutely do love, and I just think there's other places to go. But again, if you wanted to find a weird stack and play a Graham, just a mini stack, a Graham Levine, a Graham White, like I have no problem with any of that.
Yeah, for me, I just feel as though between Rozier, Graham, Hayward, LaMelo, Miles Bridges, PJ Washington, you know what I mean? Like this is not a concentrated usage situation, you know, and it's not like anybody's that. I guess maybe Miles Bridges at 4,500, maybe he gets that, but why is he getting minutes? You know what I mean? Just no one's getting a boatload of minutes. And
yeah, Miles Bridges, like he's another one who could be negatively affected by this. Yeah. Although he's still probably going to get the 24 to 28 minutes, somewhere in that range, but it might be more on the 24 side now. Yeah, I think that we just, on this particular slate, unless we hear about anything else, we move on. I do think that there is some merit to Zeller and Gafford as potential value.
Okay, so right now, I mean, it's so annoying. I just because it's just that's just what you've created. Like I would really love to try to fade Cousins. I just can't do it right now. Like right now, if I had to play 150 lines, I'd probably play 150 with him in it. Yeah, that's the situation. Fortunately or unfortunately, it's 4,400 starting, going to play however many minutes he can play, and he's a zillion points per minute player. So I don't know. Other guys on Houston, I do like. I like Deshaun Tate, who I find I'm spelling correctly, getting into my runs again. I like Eric Gordon, and I like Oladipo. So I don't think it's necessarily going to be like a really fast-paced game, right? But I just feel as though it's just these starters are just going to get like all of the usage. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know if I could play PJ Tucker till he scores more than 5 fantasy points, I guess. And then on the Detroit side, once again, I guess same guys I always kind of look at is Josh Jackson and Rose, Grant, maybe Plumlee. I mean, is this a game you're supposed to stack, or is it? I don't know. It just seems. I
built in my first 2 builds. I built a game with 7 guys from this game in it.
Yeah,
and it's not that high scoring of a game, but both defenses are terrible. I actually think the pace might be like, it won't be quick exactly, but it'll be maybe a little faster than people think. I mean, Cousins also means that this defense is going to be awful. Actually, I'll tell. Here's my first bet. Even though I think the game may not play at a lightning quick pace, I'll take the over in this game for sure.
Are we just supposed to play Plumlee? I mean,
that's right. I mean, and he's one of my 7-man stack with Cousins on the others as the other center. There's other good center options tonight, so I'm not going to say you should fade. Look, Cousins is going to be hard to fade. Yep. Simple as that. Even if other value opens up, there is a path where he doesn't need to play all these minutes. I mean, you don't need to play big against Detroit. I mean, sure, Plumlee, but like PJ Tucker's guarded centers his whole life, and Plumlee's not like an offensive go-to guy, center-wise. I just throwing it out there. Like PJ Tucker might even sneak into some of my builds because I'm stacking this game a lot of different ways. I don't love it. I think he's better off when he has the guys that, when he stands in the corner and he's got a guy like Harden getting double teamed. It's a lot easier to make threes than it is now. But he does probably get some rebound upside with Wood out, and Cousins is not going to play more than probably 24, 25 minutes. There's your argument, for Cousins. We can play the upside minute game on the other side of this. I mean, I was thinking about that on FanDuel at 4,500 and 5,500. Obviously, Cousins is a better play than Plumlee, but Plumlee has a great matchup and has a lot higher minute upside here than Cousins does.
I agree with that.
So that's just something to think about. I mean, obviously, Cousins is the better play, but I do love Tate. I love Gordon here.
Yep.
I think Oladipo is more fadeable on FanDuel. He's fadeable on DraftKings too. It's not like you need to play him, but I do have him in some of my, partly because I like the stacks, and part of what makes me like the stack is I really like Derrick Rose. I don't care too much about the overall, he's not playing as many minutes. He did play almost 29 in the last game, and he took 15 shots. I mean, look, he didn't create a whole lot for other people, but this matchup I feel like is really strong. I feel like he's cheap enough. So I like Derrick Rose. I like Plumlee a lot, and I like Jeremy Grant. I don't think it's too much for Jeremy Grant. The usage has been there. The shots are there. And you could even throw in Wayne Ellington as a value play on both sides. So
Wayne Ellington, really?
I mean, look, he's going to play enough minutes. And again, it's a good matchup. He's put up 24 and 32 in the last 2 games. And yeah, he shot the ball well, but that's what he does. And he should have plenty of open looks tonight. So he's like look, it's only if you're trying to go over value while stacking this game, which I do have some lineups that I'm doing that.
Okay, you want to move on?
Long shot play is Josh Jackson. Yes.
He's one of my favorite. He's actually one of my favorite point per dollar plays today. I mean,
you should have mentioned that then.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, did you? I didn't hear you say Josh Jackson.
I said I really like Jackson. The first guy I mentioned was Josh Jackson.
My bad. That's not bad, man. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. I actually think I need to play a little. Maybe.
I like Jackson, Rose, and Plumlee. Those are what I like.
Not Grant.
It's fine. I don't know.
Yeah. Other places. Okay. Yeah. All right. You want to start off Orlando and Indiana?
Yeah. So I guess a lot of people are going to do this. They're going to play Cousins and they're going to play Vooch, right? So Vooch looks like a really, really good play. I didn't really get to anybody else from Orlando. On Indy, I don't know. Brogdon, I guess, is fine. Sabonis, I don't know if I can do it on DraftKings at 9,900. He's fitting into my FanDuel build rather nicely though. So yeah, I mean, again, nothing particularly special. Vooch on the Orlando side and Sabonis on FanDuel on the Indy side. That was pretty much it for me. I missed something?
No, I'm trying to think about this game. So what confuses me is why the spread opened up at only -3 for Indiana, and now it's only -4. It's still gone. It's still going in the direction I expected it to, but I'm a little bit surprised.
Well, there's still no. I mean, is there still no Turner? I presume
Turner's still questionable, which makes me feel like maybe Turner's out, and maybe that they really believe it makes that much of a difference. If they're betting on that Turner's likely out, then we should take some. Just be aware that it probably just helps Brogdon a little bit extra. It doesn't really make a huge difference, I guess. I'm just trying to figure out the whole game, and probably makes the Orlando plays a little bit better, which really is just Vucevic for me and a little bit of Gordon. I liked Gordon and more the idea because the way he's playing. I mean, I started watching more of the Orlando games because I needed to figure out what was going on with some of these guys. And that was what a shot by Cole Anthony the other night, by the way. That was
awesome, right?
I loved it. I was like, I had no vested interest in it at all. It just was like, it was awesome. But Aaron Gordon, I don't think this is a fake thing. They basically have been playing him as a point guard, and
I joked about it the other day when I said, "Oh, look, point guard eligible Aaron Gordon," right?
Yeah, and I thought it was kind of silly because I was like, "Oh yeah, well then you can call a million guys point guard. How come Jokic is not?" Actually, by the way, Jokic probably should be a point guard / center, don't you think? I mean, it's fair. He brings the ball up more than anybody else does. Anyway, side note, but Aaron Gordon is still fine. I just don't know how. There's a lot of plays on DraftKings, and I don't know how much of him I'm going to end up with, but I do think he's fine. And because he rates so much lower and Michael Carter-Williams being there, I don't think that really is going to affect him all that much. I think they're past that point. I think you're going to see the regular guys, contribute. Even the last game, Fournier took 21 shots and Gordon still, had whatever 45 fantasy points. I don't love him, but he's on my list.
Okay.
All right, Brooklyn and Cleveland.
So Brooklyn and Cleveland. I'm going to be in a little bit of a bind here because I made 2 different builds on FanDuel, and I basically 2 lineups. Honestly, actually 2.5 lineups. One of them had Harden in, assuming that Durant was playing. So Durant might not play. Gonna be kind of tough to justify not playing him. So I do like him.
Who? Harden. Yeah.
I want to get your opinion on.
Well, what did you hear? What have you heard more than maybe what I've heard on KD? Because I sort of was treating it as he'll probably go, but it seems like you have a little bit of a different feel for it.
No, I just feel as though it just came up, right?
It came up today.
I think so.
I thought it came up. I don't know.
I have it stamped at 9:44 this morning.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the only reason I'm suspicious. That's all. I mean,
it doesn't really make sense to me why they wouldn't want to try and get their guys all in it together, especially after they lost this team. But again, I get it. Maybe there really is a real thing. I just wanted. It's a huge deal, obviously, and I hate it because it changes the entire slate.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it doesn't change my FanDuel because I'm just going to play Harden anyway.
What
it's going to change is that in one universe he's 20% on, the other universe he's 80% on, right? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have as much interest in Harden as I do Kyrie, but
yeah, tell me. So here's the thing: like before the last game against Cleveland, we were saying, I was wondering if Kyrie was going to be on a minutes limit, and he freaking played literally his career long in minutes.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
I mean, yeah, the double overtime, which it was weird because they.
Why?
What?
Why?
What? Well, why not? He's fine.
I guess, but I don't know why you want to play those 3 guys 50 minutes.
Well, I mean, you can't just sit them in overtime. You know what I mean?
That's the stupid Coach Sheets Galaxy Brain overtime strategy I played at AAU. That was when people were like, oh my God, how do you not play the guys who closed in overtime?
These are NBA. This is the NBA. These guys have got to be playing the overtimes, especially when they're trying to get it all together in their first game. And they did a Kyrie tribute to his place that he won a title for the first title of any kind in a million years. There's a lot of things that go into it, and it's happening again tonight. And he didn't. I'm not going to brag about it, Kyrie, last time, because it did help that he had, I think, 42 in regulation and ended up at 52. I still think whether they play or not, he's in play. He was aggressive from the beginning. He looked really good. Didn't get to the line quite as much as we're used to. I don't think. Yeah, only took 5 free throws, but and didn't run as much of the offense. They really are running James Harden like full on point guard mode, and it's interesting. Look, if KD's out, I think you can play both these guys together, or one of them.
The reason why, by the way, is they're going to stagger those guys.
Even still,
I think it's good. I think one of them's gonna be on the court the whole time. You know what I mean? Like I think that I like playing them both.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the play to win $1 billion. The play to win $1 billion is to play Andre Drummond.
Mm-hmm. So
he in the 100-minute overtime game, he played 26 minutes, and DeMarcus Cousins is going to get 99% of the ownership, and Vooch is going to get the other 1%. I mean, you know what I mean? Like Vooch is going to get other center points also. God forbid Gafford starts, he's going to get some also. So okay, they only played Drummond 26 minutes the other day. Doesn't mean they're going to play him 26 minutes every other game.
Can I dive into that one, because that's an important narratives don't matter people.
Go for it.
What do you think they did the last game with Brooklyn? The Nets, okay, look, Cleveland, they got Sexton back. It's not like they're out there desperately trying to make the playoffs, but they are trying to compete and win games. But look who they had on the court, who the whole end of the game who barely played were parts of their rotation. It was Jared Allen and it was Taurean Prince, the guys who just came over. Yep. So don't tell me narratives don't matter. Now, how does it translate into tonight? I don't know. I think you might
translate into 40 minutes for Andre Drummond.
I think you might be right, even. But the thing is, they did win that game.
Right. So they proved their point.
Well, but Prince looks. I mean, I think that there's a much better chance that Jared Allen's a part of their future than Andre Drummond, personally. but I also
Yeah,
want to trade Andre Drummond. Anyway, that's just my speculation. But I think, look, you got to play all these guys otherwise. And the thing is, the other thing that happened is that even with all these bigs, they didn't play DeAndre Jordan after the 38-minute game that everybody's like, oh my God, this is what DeAndre Jordan's going to be now. They only played DeAndre Jordan 24 minutes in the last game, which was surprising. They went with Jeff Green at the 5. So basically, the long and short of it is you're playing Kyrie and Harden if there's no Durant. In my opinion, you're playing a little bit of Kyrie otherwise, and probably a little bit of Harden. But I like Sexton again. I don't care that. If Garland's out, I like Sexton again. I don't care if it feels chasey to people. Like I liked him the other night, and I only had 10% of him, and he was 2% owned, and put up 63, and it was double overtime. But he also was going nuts anyway. So I'm okay with the Drummond idea. I actually just like that. You could just do a straight up swap for him for Vooch and have like no ownership. But I don't know how much any of these guys are going. Like you said, there's going to be a lot of center plays.
Yep.
Okay, so let's. I think the early games are more interesting than the late games, personally, for me today, with one exception. Miami, Toronto. Do you want to get it going?
Well, let's do Boston, Philly first.
Oh, my bad. Yep, I'm on the FanDuel page. Yeah, go ahead.
Probably my easiest favorite play on the whole board is Jaylen Brown on FanDuel.
Yep.
And aside from that, I had nothing else in this game at all.
Okay. I agree that Jaylen Brown on FanDuel is kind of hilarious. I love Joel Embiid.
Ooh, all right. Well, here's another one. Okay.
Yeah. So I just think that everything we just said, the only difference is, so here's Joel Embiid, and here's
a huge difference. Joel Embiid is actually going to play the 40 minutes.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, we know that. Yeah, that one. On national televised games, especially the TNT games, he's averaging like 60 plus fantasy points, I think, since the Barkley got into it with him after the game.
I remember that.
Last year. He's also like kind of crushed in general since that time. And even this year, he's had a couple of those down games, and they've been in blowouts. He had 41 against Atlanta. He was going to put up probably 70, but they were down by 30 points, and they had 8 men on the roster. They got blown out by Miami, or they blew up. Sorry, I can't remember who blew out. Actually, I think they blew out Miami. So that was that game. Pretty much, if you take away the blowouts, this guy is like a 60 plus game per game guy anyway. Almost. He just destroyed this team for 65 the other night. You're going to get no ownership on him again, probably. I am all on board with just playing Joel Embiid, and I think he's on a mission this year. I think you play the guys who are on a mission. I felt it yesterday, and obviously everybody else did with LeBron too because of his price and everything. But LeBron was a great play at almost any price he had yesterday because he really wanted to win that game. You could tell that there was a lot in it for him, and he's still in many ways the best player in the world. And I think Joel Embiid is going to get overlooked. I like him especially on FanDuel because you can just say, okay, I'm just going to go for the raw points. And I think he's got a chance to outscore Jokic even tonight. Although I like Jokic too over there. Just to look at it like that, and just
what a crazy centers day today, huh?
Yeah, it's really nuts. Again, it might be one you want to use them in your util, but I just think Joel Embiid, because the ownership is a perfect run back for Brown. I also think that I would get a little bit of Ben Simmons on FanDuel, especially at 8K. I think that when you look at him versus the other point guards, look, this guy without shooting the ball is still putting up 40 plus. If he has like just a little bit extra, he just missed the triple double the last 2 games he's played. This guy is on the verge of 50 like every time, and has some steal upside. I just think that, and also with Kemba back, they're going to play a little bit faster. I just think I like Simmons here too. So both those guys are firmly in play for me in a game that I actually I'm looking forward to watching.
All right. Want to move on?
Yep.
Okay, so Miami, Toronto. I don't like anything, so it's all yours.
It depends on if Hero plays for me. I'll go back to Dragic if Hero doesn't play. I know he wasn't like great the other night, but he did miss a lot of shots, and Kendrick Nunn was unconscious the last time this game. What was that? Was that the game? Yeah, it was. A Hero on FanDuel would be my favorite shooting guard play if he does play. I really love him at 6,100 over there. I don't even mind him on DraftKings at 71. I absolutely want to play one of the guys from Toronto, but we need
really okay.
I want to every night. Look, I've been right every day. Like somebody 8X's basically or 7X's like all the time at these prices, or 6 plus X's. Let's put it. But I don't know how to how or who it's going to end up with being. I think Van Fleet is definitely appealing, but I like Lowry too. On FanDuel, maybe, I don't know, it's close. And I have some, I like Boucher a little bit, and Anunoby I would do in a mini game stack here if I was going to play. I mean, look, and again, if no hero, you gotta love Bam, right? Like I love Bam if there's no hero.
That's great. I mean, but that's great.
Another center, I know.
He'll get like 60 and be the 8th highest scoring center. I mean,
FanDuel, you could play him at power forward.
Oh, okay.
So just keep that in mind.
Well, that's actually interesting.
Yeah, he makes more sense over there. But there's actually a lot of good plays over there. I mean, then you've got Randall at the same price, and then my man, who we'll get into in a little bit, just beneath him. All right, I mean, look, there's a lot of good games earlier. I'm not going to have as much interest in stacking the later games, so that's why I have so much interest in a lot of these guys. All right, Cheats, you want to get to the next one?
Yeah, Atlanta, I like. It's another fun day, man, because
this is the good one, yeah.
Well, Capella's going to score 50 fantasy points, and it's not going to help. So I just will reiterate that the guy's playing out of his mind. I think he's fully made a case for whatever most improved or comeback player of the year or whatever. With Capella, that's for damn sure. But aside from that, this Minnesota situation is always, it's been confusing to me. I've got it wrong literally every single time. Like today, if you pressed me, I would say, I don't know, try McLaughlin to get a 3,400 if you want to play guard. If you want to play big, play, I don't know, Vanderbilt kind of screwed me last time. I don't know, go back to Naz Reid or play Jaden McDaniels, something like that. The whole Minnesota situation is like really annoying to me. Atlanta, if Reddish plays, I'll play him. And I don't know, nothing seemed overly exciting. I guess Trae Young. I don't know. Trae Young, Capella, Reddish for Atlanta, and flip a coin for Minnesota. I don't know.
Yeah, it depends on Reddish and Hunter for me. I mean, we need to know that information because I would.
So we could play Solomon. So we play freaking what's his name, Brandon Goodwin again? No thanks.
How about John Collins?
Yeah, I know.
How about the fact that it helped Capella too, and without people
God help me with another freaking center. Collins 7,400. That's really cheap.
And he's cheaper on FanDuel at 68. I mean, he's heavy part of this offense when anyway, and I don't know, with those guys out, he might be an interesting way to go. He's not going to be owned, I don't think. We'll see about that actually, because this game is. I want to play a little bit of these guys. I don't know how much I'll end up with to getting to Trae, Capella, and Collins, but if Hunter and Reddish are out, I'll definitely open it up. And I do like Reddish if he plays. If they're both out too, Reddish and Hunter, I mean, we have to at least look at Rajon Rondo. It sounds crazy, but the minutes, if he can get up, like, I don't know, maybe it's the wrong team for him, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know, the right matchup. Maybe not. Maybe I'm reaching on that one, but watch, there'll be a slate one day where he puts up 40 when he's minimum cost, and we'll be like, one guy we didn't talk about is Anthony Edwards. There's huge volatility in all these guys on.
Yeah, I know.
So I'll embrace some of it and play some Anthony Edwards when no one will play him in a spot where they were like all over him the other night. I like Beasley on FanDuel. Again, there's better small forward options, but I do just think like taking shots on him. I don't mind if you want to play Russell because he can always get hot and he'll shoot the ball a million times. He put 56 the last time these guys played, but I just think there's other better plays. And Naz Reid makes a lot of sense, but in terms of the minutes, but I don't love it. I don't love the Vanderbilt. I don't know. I don't feel like in love with any of this. I almost like they would need to have like another body out for me to. Everybody rates sort of as like the same kind of potential value, but nothing that's exciting.
I think. So you want to move ahead?
Yes, sir.
I think you have to play. I have to. I mean, I want to play Luka.
Yeah.
I am not. I don't think I'm going to get to Porzingis today. But you know, like you said, I mean, you want to keep playing him, that's cool. But I just think Luka's a great play. I think that what's his name again on FanDuel is a really good play. The Brunson. He's just kind of locked in for those backup point guard minutes, and I know it's kind of wonky to play them both together, but I don't know. It seems it doesn't seem as pathetic as it otherwise could be. I don't know. So I like Brunson, I like Luka, and didn't get to anything on San Antonio. Is this boring a slate? I don't know.
Boring slate. There's a lot of good
I mean,
stuff.
like I don't like 20 guys, like the whole slate. I don't know.
You just named it. We just named a bunch of guys though. Like
Yeah, no, I know.
I love Luka as well. I love Porzingis. I will split them up today. I don't think I'll be playing them together. And I like Jalen Brunson on FanDuel. I don't think I'm going to get there on DraftKings.
Oh wait, I forgot the other one.
Trey Burke.
So I know, but you could talk me into him. So my point guards on, I have 3 point guards on FanDuel, and they all are from this game. And one is Luka, the other is Brunson, the other is guy keeps showing up, and freaking Patty Mills.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Patty Mills. On DraftKings, he's showing up?
No, on FanDuel.
On FanDuel, yeah. Yeah, I can kind of see it, but I think that between he and Brunson is pretty close. I will say on DraftKings, I'm kind of now on the watch and see with this Josh Green situation.
Ooh, okay.
Because I think they like him. They started him. His minutes have fluctuated. He hasn't done much, but he's a rookie. It's going to be certain games where he does his thing. It's actually better probably for him to have time while Luka's not on the court, and there's a lot of high usage. It's probably not the right time to do it, but he is now the cheap guy over here who could get the minutes uptick with some of these other guys out, and everybody else is in the 4Ks. It's just a guy if you really, really want to save. I think you can take a shot there if he's starting again. But I mostly I don't want to play the San Antonio guys tonight. I can't find the play. Like I get the Patty Mills on FanDuel, I guess. I think that LaMarcus Aldridge is so cheap that I probably will have some of him on DraftKings. At 5,500, it just starts to feel a little bit like, well,
he is only 5,500. Huh?
It's not that hard for this guy, to put together a double-double game. Even though it's been a little while for him. I don't know. It's hard for me to see him that cheap and then just go, okay, well, I don't know. I have a little bit of interest in him. All right, let's move on. I really like the Dallas side of this. This is a long story short, and I don't like San Antonio side very much.
So if you didn't like, what's his name? Zeller, you want to play center roulette with his OKC guys? I don't know. You want to try what, Muscala at 3,200? I don't know. So OKC side, let me just look. Yeah, I mean Muscala is fine, 3,200. Hill, what was that?
Is he fine at 3,200?
I don't know. Probably not.
Okay, it depends. I mean, if nobody plays him, you can throw him in as one of the value guys.
Well, no one's gonna play him. I'm just,
I mean, it depends. I don't know. I could see some people getting there if they don't like the value.
They're gonna get wrecked this game. They're just gonna get wrecked.
It feels like that actually makes more of an argument for him.
Yeah, I know. And then on the LAC, so this is one of my builds is if I don't play Harden on it shooting guard on FanDuel, I'm going to, it's funny to say drop down, but I'm going to drop down to Paul George probably.
Yeah.
And again, that comes with a blowout risk or whatever it is, but it is what it is. So I think George is my favorite guy on the Clippers, but I don't think any of them are particularly great values. And with the blowout risk involved, I wouldn't go rushing to play anybody. So Muscala, if you want to take a dart throw, Baisley's always fine. Nothing really just stands out from this game though.
I'm intrigued by, I think Baisley's played really poorly and he's been playing banged up, but his price is at the point now where I think we could take a shot on a guy with a ceiling. He's going to play the minutes. And at the same token, Isaiah Roby on FanDuel at 4.5, I still am interested in. I don't look, he's been pretty good for us when he's had these exact same situations. He's put up 27, 24, and 32. He's
power forward eligible there, right?
Power forward eligible on FanDuel. And he's power forward eligible and center eligible on DraftKings. I do think Shea is a bit too cheap.
Oof, yeah. Maybe.
And I don't think he'll be owned. And there's always even in a blowout, they've played him minutes and a lot of times. It's also his former team and all that stuff. He used to play with Beverly. I'm sure there's a little something. I don't know. There's got to be something in this guy.
You know what that is? That's a little something.
Yeah, it's a little something.
You know what? Maybe I will do that. Maybe I'll play some. If in my Paul George lineup, maybe I'll play a Shea with him.
Yeah, and the thing is, they're all matched up, rightfully so. They price everybody down. It's weird that Dort keeps getting there and no one will play him at 5,200. I get it. I'm not going to either, probably. George Hill is at 4,200. I could see him actually playing well here if they stay close. Like, I don't know. It feels like he does better in like the tough game matchups and just sucks every time they're
Who does?
an easy one. George Hill. Yeah, and then I like Kawhi. I like Paul George on FanDuel. I don't think we need to go anywhere else. I do think that, like, God, I just want to say if he was a little bit cheaper, I would take a shot on Marcus Morris. He's been pretty active the last couple games and starting to get much more of a role. But one of those games is against Sacramento, so you got to take it with a grain of salt. All right, next one.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know. I just like the guys I like today. So Denver, Phoenix. I mean, Chris Paul, fine. Booker, fine. Ayton, fine. Nothing. Again, nothing major. I'm not gonna. Is this dumb? I don't know if I'm gonna get to Jokic today. I just prefer. I guess I would just prefer Luka. That's the best I could describe it. And he takes up a center spot. Yeah, he takes up a utility spot is what he does. I don't like anybody else on Denver. That helps.
There's no special argument to play these guys except for, I will say the same thing again. Jamal Murray always is a ceiling at 7K. I expect this game actually to have a little bit more pace than most of the Phoenix games do. Denver's been playing a little faster this year. We'll see if Michael Porter Jr. is back. That doesn't really affect too much because they already all priced or whatever. But I do think Will Barton and Jamal Murray I would consider at least for a minute if he's out. I do think that Cam Johnson is still in play. Just because this price is 500 more doesn't mean we should just ignore him.
If he starts.
And then, I think Chris Paul is fine on both sides. And I think that Devin Booker is an interesting play on FanDuel because this is the type of matchup where you could see him, sort of going nuts. I'm not saying you will every time, but I still am waiting for that big game from him. And I think we will see it coming up soon. I really do.
The only thing I would say is, and this is,
they are running things differently. Go ahead, those shoots.
The only thing I would say about playing Booker is that there have just been 3 different spots this year where I said, okay, if he's going to get it done, it's going to be this game, and he just hasn't. You know what I mean? So.
No, I agree. But even when he hasn't, like, he's still putting up like enough on. He's 7,400 on FanDuel. He's still putting up like 40 enough at the time, even in those games. And with 60-point upside at no ownership, it's just a guy I want to mention. I'm not saying I'm going to load up on him, but I do think he's interesting on FanDuel.
I think Ayton's going to have a tough time tonight, as everybody does. But
yeah, and after a monster game that he helped me the other night.
Yeah, that was a good call by you. I didn't get that.
I would just, again, you had Capella, so either one would have worked.
That's a good point.
All right, ready to jump on to New York and Sacramento?
Yeah. So how did what's his name do yesterday? How did Alex Burks? He did play 30 minutes, didn't he? Interesting. So there was no restriction or whatever it is. He did come in and play 30 minutes. I ended up really not playing him.
So here's the way it went. I watched it just so you know, because I don't know what they're going to do on a back-to-back, by the way, with him.
Right.
But they literally, and it was exactly like I said, I don't know what Bullock ended up with. I think he actually ended up getting there, which was kind of gross to me because I thought he was like the worst play of all time. He had 18 fantasy points in 17 minutes. No, I thought he was terrible. I was like, they don't realize that Bullock might like not play at all after he comes out of each of his rotations. And that's exactly what happened. They played Alec Burks the whole time to close out the first half. And then from when he came in and then again, I would have been to close out the second half, but they were up by too much. So every one of these guys on New York, we have to give them the giant bump. It is a back-to-back, which is unfortunate. Now they don't have to go very far or do anything. They played a lot of minutes. Even in the blowout, they just love to play these guys minutes. But I'm telling you, it's really like Julius Randle I have just as a really, really high level play. I don't agree with the fantasy point projection on him tonight. RJ Barrett showed that even with Burks back, like he can still put up fantasy points. He wasn't like incredible or anything, but he hit 38. I don't think I'm going to go there. Elf on FanDuel, I absolutely would go back to. He still got, he played a ton of minutes last night, so maybe he would lose some, but I like him in this kind of a matchup. but Randall would be my favorite play, and then Mitch Rob would probably be my second. I do think if we hear that he's playing and good to go, whatever, we should probably play a little bit of him on DraftKings.
I would like to play devil's advocate with you for just a minute, and then we'll talk about Sacramento, because I do like a couple of Sacramentos too. We were talking about the Knicks the other day, about how they're getting wins and they're playing these guys 35 to 38 minutes and they're slowing it down. And you mentioned to me, it's like, yeah, and you know what? That actual style suits Julius Randle like perfectly. So to play devil's advocate, maybe a really up-paced matchup against Sacramento is not something that's going to give Randle the same type of bump.
It makes sense. It's just the extra possessions and the fantasy production that they're leaking. It's not just that they're playing fast. It's that they are playing poorly, and that there's tons of missed shots. There's plenty of rebound opportunities. I mean, Golden State, is a better version of what Sacramento is, but they don't play us quite as fast. But I mean, Julius Randle just beat the hell out of those guys last night, and he only took 11 shots. This guy, I mean, there's just so much ceiling for him, and really, what's the floor, Sheets? Like, what is it? I mean, the last back-to-back, I know he didn't play as many on the front of it, but he played 39 on the second half of the back-to-back. What's his floor going to be?
34? I mean, 34 minutes?
He played 30 on the back-to-back of another game that was a blowout earlier this year. But, I mean, like, it's his floor for points.
Oh, well, the same thing.
I feel like the median being projected is like his floor.
What I mean...
In any game, okay, in a competitive game. So in any game and I haven't seen Sacramento blow anybody out this year.
Nope.
In any game that's been competitive this year, what have we got? Like, what's he put up? He put up.
Yeah, 45 as a median is kind of ridiculous.
That's like that really is. Like, I mean, what's he averaging?
Has he gotten worse than 45, like ever?
Only games he's gotten worse are the games that he didn't end up, that they ended up getting blown out, or they blew somebody out.
We're going to game log here.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking at it.
So 50, 45, 48, 45, 50, then played 30 minutes because of a 30-point blowout. 50, 45, 59, 62. Every single game is over the median. And that can't be a median.
No, it doesn't make any sense. And I mean, like, he's averaging, without having the spectacular thing, he's averaging 48, and that counts the blowout game. So if you think this game stays remotely close, which I don't see why it wouldn't, I love Julius Randle. I'm very into this play. I just think the point per minute production is off a little bit.
Dude, I love Sabonis and all, but I mean, Sabonis being 800 more than Randle on DraftKings is a little criminal, no?
I mean, yeah. The thing is, Sabonis is also another guy with a huge floor, but like Randle's a lot cheaper. That's a big difference. 800.
800's a lot.
Yeah. So I'm into it. And then again, we can just run it right back on the other side. I think we've got upside with Bagley. I think that's who you're going to bring up on DraftKings.
No, yeah, I was going to bring up Bagley on DraftKings, but on FanDuel, I was going to bring up someone I haven't played yet, and I think it might be time to bring out Tyrese.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, he's one of my two values on shooting guard between Reddish and him. So
what draws you to him tonight specifically? Because I can't find any of him tonight. I could find an argument for Hield and Fox pretty well on FanDuel, but I can't find the Tyrese.
Well, I mean, all I did was I just kind of sorted by points per dollar, knowing that I was going to take Harden in like the other spot. Mm-hmm. And just from as far as cheapness goes, like, you know what I mean? Like, he seemed to, just seemed to have a good ratio.
Yeah. All right. I think he's fine in general. I don't like him specifically, especially tonight, but I do like Fox over there on FanDuel.
Let me look again at shooting guard over there. Oh, we might as well do that. But yeah, shooting guard over there. I liked those two tied for me between Reddish and Halliburton. So we'll see.
I think it's kind of interesting. All right. Well, guys, just a real quick. I mean, I know I named a lot of names.
You want to go to FanDuel?
Okay, yeah, sure. Let's go jump over to FanDuel.
Yeah, so let's do the positions here.
I'll just read who I currently have in my lineups, and I know there's some guys who I'm missing.
Okay, you want to just start a point guard then?
Sure, I'll do my point guards real quick. The current point guards I'm using on FanDuel are Burke, Luka, Brunson, Lowry, Fox, Trae Young, Chris Paul, and LaMelo Ball. I'll
just give it the top three like usual. I like Luka, and then and then Brunson and Mills as the two cheapies. If I were going to rebuild, so to speak, and just go something totally different, like middling, I like Fox a little bit, and also somebody you mentioned is Simmons. Again, if I play Simmons, don't play him because he's never gotten there for me. But if you kind of rebuild and play like that, that's fine.
Yeah, I actually don't know why I didn't mention him because I do like the Simmons combination with Jalen especially.
Okay.
All right, so shooting guards, Tyler Hero, far my favorite, Oladipo, Booker, Sexton, Reddish, and Wayne Ellington. Wayne Ellington and Edwards is my value guys right now. I'm sort of, those will probably change. It's just my current placeholding ones.
For me, it's Harden, or down to Paul George if you want to be a little middler, or, and as I just mentioned, shooting guard, cheapies would be, cheaper would be Reddish and Halliburton.
You want to be a little middler. That's something you don't hear too often.
Be a little middler.
All right, small forward. I'm sorry. Yeah. I like Paul George too. I forgot to mention him. Small forward, Grant. Again, I'm going heavy on this Houston thing. Grant, Tucker, Grant, Tate, Gordon, Brown. I don't really have a whole lot of other small forwards that I'm currently built with.
My top two small forwards are both from that game, and that's Tate and Gordon.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, I'm sorry, but Jaylen Brown's the best play.
Yeah. Power forward, I will go Roby, Thompson as my value guys.
Oh, nice.
Randall, Porzingis, Boucher, and a tiny bit of PJ Tucker in the 6-man game stack.
My favorite power forward is really news based. I have to really see who's doing what, who's starting, whatever. I like Thaddeus Young at 3,800.
Yeah, that's my bad. You know what? Thank you for reminding me. That was my note to do. I didn't realize he was that price over here.
Yeah, 3,800, and then next is the guy you mentioned is Roby. If you wanted to go right back to Vanderbilt, I don't know. I mean, I feel a lot more comfortable with Roby. Let's put it that way. And then if you wanted to pay up, like I said, so I mentioned, so who is your guy? Oh, Randall. Okay, because I said when I mentioned Sabonis at power forward, you said but there's someone under that you really like, your man. Was that referring to? Do you like who do you like more, Randall or I don't know, Kristaps maybe?
Well, I mean, look, if we're that close in price, you have to just take Randall's floor. You know what
Okay.
I mean? Kristaps is like, look, dude, it's crazy to me that it's still a tournament play because I've said it over and over again. And how right have we been on it, by the way, too?
Yeah.
We said get back on. We said he's going to probably put up a game, and he was great in other times. I don't understand his projections. I think they're all the time they're broken completely. But I still think that even with all that Randall is just a little bit better of a play. Anyway.
Center, you gotta play Cousins.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard to fade Cousins, and here's some arguments for who you could play besides Cousins. Okay, so you can flip over that game as I mentioned earlier, and you can just play Plumlee, hope for the minute upside, hope Cousins gets himself into trouble, and then they play better without him. Hope that they can use PJ Tucker at the 5. Here's the arguments for fading him. You can play Naz Reid at the same price, who's got more of a minute ceiling, lower point per dollar. I mean, Cousins is the 5th highest usage player in the history of the NBA, and it pretty much is like that even when he plays now. Okay, this year, let me see real quick.
It would be nice again if
27%.
9 threes. That would be really nice
for Cousins.
Yeah.
We don't want that. Like, we shouldn't be rooting for that much chalk. Even if we have him, we should just be like, okay, he got this. You know what I mean?
Right. I guess so.
Flip argument here is Mitchell Robinson. He gets more minutes, and he's got a nice matchup at 5,600. He could put up more than Cousins. Look, these guys even in raw points shouldn't outscore Cousins, but I'm just throwing the names out. Andre Drummond has the real chance to put up like the 50-60 at 86, as you mentioned earlier. He'll be way off the board too. But the Jokic, Vooch, and all of them don't make sense except for until I get to Embiid with a real ceiling. Because if I'm going to try and play some other than Cousins, it's going to be hard even for it to be Mitch Rob because I need him to like barely outscore Cousins for me to even feel okay about the play. But Embiid is going to put up 45 to 65 fantasy points here almost all the time, really almost all the time, especially on tonight's game. If he puts up 65 and Cousins puts up 35 even, now, while that's great for Cousins, you've differentiated your build. You've got, likely that means Jaylen Brown probably had a good game too because it's close, or maybe you don't even need him. But I think that's one way to get different is to try and pay all the way up for Embiid. It's hard to recommend these other cheap guys in his range. I just gave you the arguments for it, but even still, I think the best option would be just to go all the way up to Embiid or Jokic or just play Cousins.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, and he certainly can get tossed out of the game.
Yeah,
Come up with anything's possible. It's just kind of a tough. First of all, they do announce he's starting, which he's going to be, right? It's just kind of just a tough. It's just a tough fade. That's all.
It's so annoying.
It's fine. Just look at it like an eight. What you call an 8-person lineup on Draft FanDuel again.
I do think there's a better argument to fade him on FanDuel though.
Why is that?
Well, it's always harder to cram in because DraftKings is a lower overall salary for the same number of players. Sorry, for one less player. They're 10,000 less. So basically, it's always a little bit of a tighter construct. Like you can play the expensive. You can take the weird shot on Drummond, which again is a really weird shot. It seems like. But Sheets, would it be surprising to any of us if he played 38 minutes and had like a 20-20 game like he does every time he plays?
No.
Well,
Especially against
in the best matchup like there is on the board, like maybe that's what we do. We got onto it, even though it didn't work out great yesterday. It sort of should have worked out with Lonzo Ball. I mean, he was getting there. He was getting the minutes. The minutes didn't look like they were going to be the issue. But maybe Drummond is your real, like, that's an awesome play. I don't care. I think it's worth taking a shot. If they hadn't won the last game, I would like it less.
Especially on DraftKings, when people are going to play Cousins in one spot and then Vooch in the other, right? Like, if anything, you know what I mean? Like there's just no way he's going to get owned. It's just not possible.
Play Cousins and Jared Allen together. Jared Allen's power forward. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Do not do that.
No, I mean on DraftKings though. I mean,
it's so weird what they're doing. They have so many centers.
Yeah.
Even Nance is really a small ball 5, Anyway, all right, guys. Hopefully this was helpful. I think that we got some ideas. We'll be with you guys today. Sheets, you'll be with us, right? At 6:00 Eastern?
I will be with you at 6:00 Eastern.
All right. Well, we look forward to it, guys. It should be a fun slate. A lot to go through. Playing pretty big today. So good luck to us. For Sheets, I'm Bobby saying we'll see you at the top of the leaderboards.